The Sustainable Development Goals are being developed by the United Nations in response to the global challenges we face today. Currently still in the drafting process, goals are being built on the foundation laid by the previously created Millennium Development Goals. The aims of the SDGs are to create sustainable development, integrate the economic, social and environmental aspects. SDG 4 is focused on education and builds upon the earlier developed Millennium Development Goal 2. Targets for this SDG 4 include ensuring that all girls and boys complete primary and secondary education by 2030, and also have access to pre-primary education. So far, thanks to the Millennium Development Goals, there has been much progress made in the educational field. The global figure for the amount of children that do not attend school has dropped significantly from 100 million in 2000 to 58 million by 2012. Great improvements have been made in granting access to education in sub-Saharan Africa since the 1990s. This region saw the highest improvements from 1990 to 2012 in school net enrollment. There are now an estimated 149 million children enrolled in primary schools. Over half of African countries have achieved high rates of enrollment. However, despite these advances, sub-Saharan states often face the greatest challenges in accomplishing primary school enrollment for boys and girls. The complexities of rapid population growth, civil unrest, conflict and unstable governments has meant that just over half of the children not attending school around the world are from this region alone. The related causes of poverty, gender inequality, and geographical divisions are linked to poor attendance and completion rates. In developing countries, the poorest 20% of households are 3 times more likely to be out of school than other children. In addition, there are great disparities between urban and rural communities, with an estimated 23% of poor rural girls going on to complete their primary school education. Let us look in particular at a country in the sub-Saharan region, Ghana. Ghana's recent development policy framework has focused on working in areas such as developing economic stability and human resource development. Yet, despite the progress made with educational projects, there are still great gaps in equal access for all, especially for the northern territories. There are huge differences in wealth and access to education between the urban and the less developed and rural regions. Though recent reports have shown a general decline in poverty, the northern, upper west and upper east regions are still very much facing endemic situations of poverty. Most of these communities lack adequate access to education and the resources needed. Some estimated 5,000 schools, predominantly in the northern areas, take place outside due to a lack of materials needed for construction. There are an estimated 650,000 children not attending school nationally. Ghana has managed to improve its net enrollment rate by at least 80% by focusing on pre-primary education and other methods. A major issue that has slowed down the progress of access to education has been the cost of schooling, which many of the country's disadvantaged population cannot afford. About 18% of the country still lives in extreme poverty. Though there are free educational establishments in Ghana, the cost of learning materials and stationery, uniforms, transportation, food and examination fees are affecting access to education. There are external pressures on young children to financially assist their parents by earning money during laborious work or selling produce. Even after a child has enrolled into school, the pressures of maintaining cost has meant that many have had to leave school, whether temporarily or permanently. Children are known to skip periods of school to help parents with farming work or other work such as construction work, working in the cocoa industry, mining work and petty trading. Recent estimates by UNICEF puts the number of children who live and work on the streets due to extreme poverty at 50,000. The dangers that face many children living on the streets are sexual violence, physical and psychological trauma. Should a child return after having taken some time out for financial reasons, there is often greater pressure on them to catch up and maintain the same level of progression as before. New sustainable goals must have an understanding of working with rights holders, public and private actors, as well as state actors. This means incorporating the following human rights principles. Development plans shall take into account the relationship between several human rights issues, such as the right to an adequate standard of living, healthy working conditions, good healthcare, and gender equality. When implementing programs, it is vital that no one or any community is left behind. Solutions and policies should be equally accessible to all, no matter a person's wealth, gender, age, geographical location, or disability. The participation of rights holders to own the development process should be central to the fulfillment of projects. The decision-making process by actors should include those affected or their representatives in order to empower everybody, especially the most vulnerable or marginalized. Systems should be in place to hold decision makers and duty bearers accountable at all levels. Institutions which already do so can be further strengthened by conducting monitoring and evaluation and providing feedback to communities. All these principles can be seen in several human rights instruments, which Ghana and most sub-Saharan nations are already party to. The fulfillment of education rights for all cannot be achieved without acknowledging the impact of other related human rights issues. To see effective and long-lasting changes, development plans should incorporate solutions for all related matters. Alleviating high levels of poverty needs to be a priority also, as it often puts up one of the greatest barriers to fulfilling the right to education. Though great strides have been taken so far to offer free quality primary education, we must also work to eradicate high dropout levels and tackle obstacles that often limit children's enjoyment of their rights to the fullest.